the famous 5/8 Club in Minneapolis, home of the Juicy Lucy, and Chris just knocked one down. So,
you know, it seems like the last couple of weeks I've been eating famous burgers. So I'm at the 5/8 Club where we ate the famous Juicy Lucy.
There
burger,
it is. There it is.
Which, you know, I'm curious to know what the Lucy becomes. But
we'll find out later.
Delicious landmark meal.
Chris is in Minneapolis to make an appearance and talk a little bit about trust agents. And Chris, I wanted to chat with you a little bit about that as well. And if you could touch a little bit on the concept of building trust, not only in the world of social media, of which you are, you know, a rock star in, but across all media, all marketing platforms. Tell us a little bit about, you know, where you're coming from there.
Well, it's interesting. I think that we've come to a place where people in general are about tired of feeling like a number. They want to be seen, they want to be heard, they want to be felt. And we've done a great job as a system to not treat people like people anymore. And I think that the opportunity is to build relationships and show people that we see them. And I think that's really what's behind Trust Agents. Julian Smith, wrote a book where we talked about how to be human at a distance. And it's not really just in these tools, it's not just in the marketing tools, but it's saying, you know, I see you, I recognize what you're talking about, I know what's on the go for you. And so I guess that the opportunities going forward, not just in using social media tools, but in your marketing and in your communications in general with business people, business to business or otherwise, is to build those relationships, to recognize the human, to actually talk and ask about them, and to listen and use listening tools as opposed to just coming up with great catchy phrases and slogans and product sales opportunities. It's great to sell people something, but like they always say, nobody wants to be sold to, but everyone wants to buy. And we have so many opportunities now to use these tools to really reach in, listen, understand what people really want instead of what we think they want by making boxes for them to check. And we can really get sort of the unstructured take on what matters to people.
We talked a little bit about, before we started chatting on camera, a little bit about using that, the sort of the purest view of building trust and, you know, building that relationship between brands or companies, but also changing that into, you know, converting and using that to convert it to dollars. We talked a little bit about your new venture, which is Third Tribe. And that, could you explain the tribe concept and how that relates to what we're talking about?
Sure. I launched Third Tribe Marketing with Brian Clark, who's copy blogger, and Darren Rouse, who's pro blogger, and Sonia Simone, because there were these sort of two different groups out there on the internet. And one was sort of what we'd call the yellow highlighter crowd, who understands really raw, hardcore internet marketing, and it's a real push kind of a sale, and it's a very smash kind of a sale. And on the other side, there's sort of the kumbaya crowd, who is all about, you know, free and open and let's never make any money and let's all wonder why we're broke. And we think that there's a third tribe who wants to make some money, who wants to do some business of some kind, who maybe doesn't want to resort to the harsh tactics that we see in some of the other online marketing camps, but who doesn't necessarily want to just give everything away and hope for the best. So we think we've come up with some ideas, and we think that through the community we can talk through the ideas of how to build marketing relationships that matter, and how do we turn those into relationships that yield, and then what comes of that. So Third Tribe Marketing is a project about that. So we launched it in the very beginning of February in 2010, and we're hoping that we'll have some really good traction. We've actually, our target goal for our launch week was around 1,000 new subscribers for the very first week, and we got about 1,000 on the first day, so it looks like we'll be okay.
With the concept of this need to build trust with consumers, with our audience, with our clients, and the concept of we also need to make a living and use it as a marketing stream.
Community is an opportunity. Community is a privilege, and so people being on a service like Twitter doesn't mean that they've opted in to receive your ads. When they follow you, one of the things about Twitter that's really interesting is the opportunity to unfollow, the opportunity to opt out and to vote with their feet. So you get really quick response as to whether or not your version of communicating using that tool is valuable or not. You maybe don't get it as quickly with the blog, you don't get it as quickly with your Facebook page, but with something, thank you, with something like Twitter, you get it right away. You understand whether or not there's value. And so to me, there's an opportunity really quickly to build relationships. Dell did it great. Dell was there. They were a bunch of different people. It was Richard at Dell. It was Lionel at Dell. It was Bruce Eric Anderson in the day. And they just had conversations. And one day they said, you know, we have all these bargains that we put up on our website. We'd love to sell them via Twitter. But what do you think? Should we, do that as us? How should we do? Should we make a new stream? And their friends all said, well, we'd rather you make a new stream because we don't really want Richard at Dell, who's our friend, to also be Richard at Dell. And oh, by the way, would you like a laptop? So they made a stream. Dell reported over $6 million in revenue on that stream last year for 2009. So $6 million at a price point of around $300 average dollars per transaction. It's a pretty good transaction base in Twitter. And the reason they did it was that they were there with people first. They made the offer. They asked questions before they made the sale. And it was a very clean and explicit way to make a sale of the product that people wanted that they'd already opted in to know about.
So really it comes full circle around to trust. Trust, to build the trust in what the expectation is of that marketing stream or that medium that you're using to market to. So if you're using a Twitter account to sell product or a Twitter account to communicate, there should be an expectation on both of those as to what they are and what they're going to deliver. Right?
Exactly. It's all about context. If you invite me over to dinner and then present me with a bill at the end of dinner, it's awkward because I thought I was coming to your house to eat. And if you invite me to dinner and you don't present me with a bill, but suddenly you start showing me Tupperware, it's also awkward. So there's clear expectations up front of what you're planning to do. There's a sense that you're building a relationship before the sale, and then there's hopefully the hope or the belief, implicit and explicit, that you're not just going to start selling to me. And the minute you do, that's when I tune you out. So these are sort of the table stakes of this new game, and trusting and building a relationship is how it gets done. If you want the old methods, go back to the old methods. The only difference is they're just not yielding. So you will run out of clients and customers at some point. The new method is actually care about the person you're reaching out to and make it more about relationships that yield, not raw numbers.
So you're going to spend another day or two here in Minneapolis. Anything you hope to accomplish or walk away from the Great White North here today?
Here in Minneapolis, I hope to meet more wonderful people. I hope to hear more stories about what's going on. I had a great time last night listening to Christopher Lauer talk about how he's using social media with local businesses to promote sake breweries and restaurants and the like. And to me, that's the great thing. Is it's always fun to hear small business success and kind of local success as I move around the country and see how people are using these tools to make cool relationships happen. So meeting swell guys like you who throw tweet ups and meeting guys like Rick Vaughn, who drove me around like my own personal chauffeur last night.
So he got you back there safe, which is amazing because he's wanted in like 3 or 4 states for bad driving. But listen, thanks very much for all of your time, for all of your kindness, and for all of your wisdom. I really appreciate it.
Total pleasure.